Hi there, welcome to a new home experience for Microsoft Viva Connections. Hi, my name is Michael Giannotti and I'm a Principal Technology Specialist for the Microsoft Corporation working in our Healthcare and Life Sciences group. This is being brought to you as part of the Microsoft Teams Summit taking place April 17th through the 21st with lots of great events. We'll have a recap of those at the very end. But today's recording that we're watching here in on demand on the blog is a re-recording of the demonstrations provided yesterday. There were some technical issues with the video, so we've elected to go ahead and provide a fresh, fully fledged demo of everything that was covered yesterday. And of course, in the blog post at aka.ms/HLS blog, that's aka.ms/HLS blog. Up there, you will be able to see all the resources that I mentioned yesterday. I'll be calling out some of those today, but those are great resources for you to get started with the new home experience. So we'll go ahead and advance. And again, this is the new home experience for Viva Connections that we're covering today. So I'm going to go ahead and let's get off of, whoops, not that view. We want to go full screen. There we are. We're going full screen. The first thing I want to talk to you about real quickly to put all of this in context, as we look at the Viva Connections home, it is part of the Microsoft Employee Experience Platform, known as Microsoft Viva. It's where we put people at the center of all things so that we can help them along things such as well-being and insights. We can take a look at learning and development, purpose and alignment, culture and communications, knowledge and expertise. And I highlight culture and communications because that's really what we're focusing on with the new Viva Connections home. So continuing on. Of course, all of this, as you look at the employee experience, Microsoft is bringing it to you through that single pane of glass to get work done, Microsoft Teams. And that includes both mobile as well as desktop. Full fidelity experience across both, just laid out differently depending upon the format of the device accessing it. And that's an important key takeaway because everything in this platform, if your users are frontline workers, for example, or clinicians, they can get to it right from the comfort of their iPhone, their Android phone, their computer. So as we're kind of wrapping up the slides, getting ready to demo, a couple of quick things to point out. Number one, like I mentioned, this is part of the Viva Employee Experience Platform. Now, important to note that as we look here on the left-hand box, these are what we call standard Viva capabilities that you get as value add with Microsoft 365. So if you have a Microsoft 365 contract with Microsoft for the cloud, everything that I'm going to show you today around Viva Connections, you own. That's an important point. Let me say it again. You own it. So from a licensing standpoint, you can quickly roll this out to your users. Also from a technical standpoint, you can do so quickly, and we'll talk more about that as well. But it's important to note that you get these capabilities here out of the box. Continuing on, because we're almost done with our slides. All right, so what is the Microsoft employee experience or that home experience? Well, it really centers around the fact that from a Microsoft standpoint, as we've been bringing the employee experience to Microsoft Teams, one of the things you may have noticed is that in those teams, as we started to add more and more applications to Viva, there's more and more icons for the left-hand rail. We've simplified that with the new home experience by giving you a single icon on the left-hand rail, as you'll see in just a moment. And from there, we can then go to all of the employee experiences that have been lit up for us. The modules that have been lit up and we're licensed for, we'll see automatically lit up for us, like Engage, Learning, Insights, Goals, and others. In addition, we have some other components we'll be taking a look at that really bring value, but the idea is not so much that we're presenting you an intranet homepage portal. No, this goes well beyond that. This is the entry point for your employee experience. So really, as we think about, there's intranets and portals and all, and that still has importance, and we still provide for those, and we'll take a look at that. Having said that, though, where we see moving beyond, just intranets and portals is really that unified employee experience. Again, brought to you via Teams. Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, all of this is mobile enabled out of the box so that you can access the same content for Viva Connections, for Viva Engage, etc., all from your mobile device, Android, iOS, in full fidelity. In fact, I use it all the time. Internally, one of the tiles or cards that we provide for our users, and here we'll go ahead and let that run through so you can see it kind of clicking and moving around. But one of the tiles that we do that gives you that full fidelity experience right in line is paycheck, right? So for pay. And it's one of my wife's favorite because comfort of the couch, it's payday. I can pull it up and she can see, just how it all broke down as far as taxes and all those goodies right from my phone out of the box, right? So it's this idea of mobile enablement out of the box for your users. And I believe we are ready. Yes, we are for the demonstration. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up. I have two different demonstration environments that we're going to take a look at. One of them is my own personal demo tenant that I use. Another one is a shared one that we use at Microsoft for all of our healthcare and life sciences in the field. And we're going to leverage both of those to show some different things. But first, we're going to do kind of a walkthrough as to what is on that Viva Connections home, what it is to stand that up, and options you may have around that. We're also going to take a look at how it can be customized. What are the provisions for that within it? Then we'll take a look at actually adding some cards or tiles. We call them both. I call them both, I should say. And we're going to show adding those. So an easy way to quickly bring value, and then how you can audience profile target. Then we'll talk about some additional elements within there, and then that'll be it. But it's simple. The whole point, let me just say this before we jump in. The whole point of Viva Connections Home is it is simple, right? It should be easy to deploy. It should not have a bunch of dependencies on deployment, and I'll talk about that momentarily. There aren't a bunch of deployment prerequisites other than you have a 365 instance. You don't have to have your intranet homepage on SharePoint and on SharePoint Modern and all that. We'll talk about all that. So let's go ahead. Let's get out of this particular view. And I am going to come on over here. We're going to bring up my demo instance. Oh, excuse me. No, that's not my demo instance. This is my demo instance. We're going to come back to that one in a bit. So we're going to use this kind of walk through, and right here, what you can see, first of all, one of the most important pieces, one icon. Let me say it again. One icon on the left-hand rail. There's not a proliferation of a whole bunch of icons. There is a single icon. And of course, in Teams admin, you can use your icon that you'd like. You can put your verbiage there, so it'll have your branding around that particular icon. That is entirely up to you, but that is provided for here so that we can do that. Then you'll see it knows who I am as I've logged in, because we've got all that single sign on and across the board. I'm signed into Teams, signed into this. Knows who I am. Right underneath that, we see the various modules that have been enabled for us. So, for example, learning, insights, goals, and engage. If there were other ones enabled, they would continue to come across here, right? And happens automatically. There's nothing for you to configure or do. If you enable it for people, if they're licensed for it and enabled, it automatically appears. If they're not, they don't get it. It's that simple. Up above here, we have a link to our company intranet. So that's still there. So this may, I'm going to click on it, look very familiar to you. We use this for the last few years in demos, right? So we've got all that right here. We've got the company feed, we've got the dashboard and all that. That doesn't go away. That original Viva Connections 1.0 is still here if you use it. If you don't have this, it's okay, because to stand this up, to stand up the home, the only prerequisite is that you have Teams and you have a 365 contract. That's it to light this up. You don't have to have your whole SharePoint migrated, updated, blah, all these different things, home site. You can stand this up in about 15 minutes or less. From a technical standpoint, there's change management, there's business review on what do you want to provide on the page for dashboards, but technically it's very simple to stand up. And all the links will be in that blog post. All right. Moving on down, we have the dashboard. So the dashboard operates on this principle of tiles or cards. You may be familiar with adaptive cards in Teams. Well, guess what? If you're doing adaptive cards in Teams, you can publish them out and consume them here right within this. But we also provide you with a slew of cards you'll see momentarily. There are also third-party cards that are available. And again, the beauty of all this is it's all mobile enabled out the box. Nothing else for you to do. So I come in here. Here's a good example. I can click report. You can see I can come right in here and I can select and say, hey, I want to report like paid time off, a date, provide that and submit it. Just cancel out of there. But you can have various applications. We have a lot of ours internally at Microsoft. There are third-party ones that we have implemented and our users take advantage of. So there is a whole slew of those available for you. Take advantage of them, but you can also create your own, and I'll talk about that when we get into adding a card or a tile into here. The last thing on these is that each one of these individual cards or tiles can be audience profile targeted. What does that mean? That means based upon who you are, your role in the org, your location in the org, or other attributes that is a part of a profile that you want to target, you can do so. We leverage Azure Active Directory and Microsoft 365 groups for that targeting. So it's very simple to do. You probably already have a slew of those available. So for example, those security groups in Azure Active Directory, they're all for you. They're all there for you to consume and use. If you have created a team over here in Teams, automatically a 365 group is stood up and available. And you can take advantage of that for targeting. So that's available. Over here, moving to the far right, you can see the feed. Now the feed is a dynamically updated feed of news, content, and discussions fed up into this feed based off of who I am. The system understands me, Michael Giannotti. It understands the pages I'm viewing, the documents I'm reading or editing, contributing to, the emails that I'm generating and who's in those emails, the teams I'm in, the meetings I'm attending, and who else is attending. And based off that, it's going to dynamically provide me views of content throughout our 65 instance, bubble that up, and that includes the new engage / Yammer conversations with the ability to view interact, so I can come in here and we can like something, or we could come in and we could, go ahead and forward that or save it for later. All that kind of those activities are all here, and I can go ahead and do so for any one of these. But we make it very simple. But the feed is that dynamically delivered feed of content for you as an individual based off of who you are. Scrolling on down, we see our last couple of sections here. Followed sites. So all the sites I follow are right at my fingertips here. I don't have to have a, bookmark or favorites in a browser or any of that. They're all right here at my fingertips. And then the sites that I most frequently go to, they're also here, right? So followed and then frequently used. They're both here. These are dynamic. There's nothing to do. They just show up. Lastly, you can see resources or navigation. This is the same navigation that if, we're over and let's say I go to learning, then we want to go back. Actually, that wasn't what I wanted to hit. If we go, here we go, the landing, and we click this back, you can see we get that drop down of all those organizational content coming out, right? This will look very familiar in a sec. And again, those my sites, my news, all that being dynamically updated here. And so what we're going to do is come on back and go click out of that. We'll go on back here. But all that's available down here on the left, and it's editable, and I'll show you that in a moment. So that's a run through of what's on the home. It's a very structured area. It is that entry point for all things employee experience at a single glance. So we simplify it. We provide some powerful reasons why people would want to be here, providing them the applications based off of who they are, where they are, etc. Their dynamically updated content, and then some other resources. Now, how do we edit these things? Well, the first thing you'll notice there are edit buttons because I have appropriate permissions at various levels of this site. There's only a few. This is not meant to be a big custom build and skin and do all that. That you can still do over on your corporate intranet pages. But here, this is meant for that employee experience landing to be simple. The edit buttons show up for me as an administrator, not an end user. That came up yesterday. These are administrative functions, not end user pick and choose and reshuffling and doing stuff. That this is provided to them. So the first thing we can do, I'll click edit, is to change the banner. We may want to customize that for our company. So it's as simple as this. I click that edit button, I select change image. You notice we have stock images available. We've got web search. I can go to my OneDrive, go to a site, upload, search for images, or from a link. I'm going to pick stock images. I always pick stock. That way there's no confusion. We're not grabbing something we shouldn't grab. And I'm going to go ahead here and we will put in, I don't know, let's say medicine. All right. And so there we are. And we can pick from any one of these. I'll go ahead. Let's pick this particular one. Going to change and notice how it's changed that. Then I can reposition the image. This should all seem very familiar because it's at focal point. It is. We do this today with SharePoint. And once I'm done, now I have my new image treatment that's available. But it was that simple to change for branding. Next step is I can edit the dashboard. We'll come back to that in a moment because we're going to edit and we're going to add some functionality to this one here. Scrolling on down, there's one last edit button. It does not apply to these. I know it's over here and I've had people bring that up. I understand. It's just because there's more empty real estate here. that it was placed, but it's around this navigation. Edit, going to open up the navigation, and notice I could come in and it creates these plus signs if I want, to come in and actually add content. And I can pick, do I want a label or a link? If it's a link, you put the link, you give it a name. You can even say open in a new tab. That means it'll blow it out from the view in Teams into a separate browser view if you wanted. We're going to cancel. We're not going to put anything in there. But then if I scroll down, way down, the other thing we have is enable audience targeting. So if I select that, I'm not going to actually turn that on. That enables me to then target individual links here, right? So if I said, hey, I want to do that. And now when I go in, I don't think it'll show. Let's see. Yeah, it did. All right. So that means with that on, not only can I put this link here in the name, I can say who can see that link. So I can have very different resource navigation experiences for people based off of their role, where they're located, other attributes that you may have about them. And it's a simple Active Directory lookup, right? I start typing, and here's a name, and this would mean only the people from this Mark 8 project team would see that. So if there's an important link you want to provide for like a high-level group that's doing an important task, you could do that. And you can target in this view up to 10 audiences with that. All right, so we'll cancel out of there. I'm going to turn that off. We'll close that. But that's it. You have those three areas. This for resources, this one to do the dashboard, and then finally for your banner treatment. That's it. Simple. Like I said, you could roll this out very quickly and iterate on it and provide ongoing value to your users. One other thing, just to quickly mention, again, there's documentation that we've provided in the post that will take you to all this. But if you want to roll this out to a limited subgroup, that's done in the Teams admin area. You can absolutely target a group for piloting and then doing some of the iteration with them before you roll it out to your broader org. So that's all possible. Just wanted to make that clear. And the how-tos are provided for in the documentation. All right, so we didn't click edit on dashboard, and there's a reason. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and it's going to open this up here, and you can see it's showing me all of my cards or titles that are available. And right from here, I can click on an individual card. I can select the edit button, and I can change or see the attributes around this particular one. This one is using JSON to deliver. JSON is one of those methods by which you can deliver a whole slew of very cool interactive cards. I'll show you where you can do that. I can also click and move a card wherever I would like it. I can duplicate a card if there's one I like and I want to make a variation of it. Excuse me, click duplicate, it'll make that, and then you can edit the duplicate. And finally, I can delete a card right from here. But I want to add a card. So where we do that is down here. It's pretty highlighted, right? We have a big plus. It says add a card. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to show me the cards that have been enabled for me here. Now, this is not an exhaustive list of cards or tiles. It is not. For example, you may have lots of homegrown ones that you publish internally for your users, right? So the out of the box is not going to be reflective of that. But when you publish them, they'll start to appear here as well. There is also via SharePoint, and it's the SharePoint App Store. If I click this, add more cards, it's going to open up a separate window in SharePoint to the SharePoint apps, including apps that complement Viva Connections. Again, not an exhaustive list, and I'll tell you why in a moment, But if I click discover more, then it's going to show me all the ones that are already published here for you. But take it one step further. You may want to add something like a ServiceNow card. Well, ServiceNow, as one of our third-party partners that works with us and has integration into Microsoft Viva, they have a card that you can get directly from them. So if you go to ServiceNow and you search on Microsoft Viva, you will find that particular card for the ServiceNow one that you can download and then upload into the App Store, into your one for your tenant, and make that available for your users. There's also some additional ones, again, that we provide, like Teams app. Anything that's a Teams app, we can grab it from here. We can grab top news, learning. There's Discover, there's Shifts. There's a card designer. I want to show you that real quickly. And if I click it, you'll see there's areas to change how the visual treatment of it's handled, the size, the title, any images, etc., links that it may link to, action button links. And then there is the JSON templates for you. If you are an experienced developer doing JSON, you can come in here, grab the templates, then add your content, pump it in, and provide that right for here for your users. But very simple. You also, there are provisions to, like I said, do adaptive cards. So if you're familiar and comfortable with Power Apps and the Power Platform, you could build some very rich cards with very low code, no code. And finally, there are templates and the ability to do this in Visual Studio. The link for development for this type of activity, it's on the post, so you'll be able to go ahead, take a look at that, and access those results. But let's say you have none of those skills, like me. You're like me, but you want to deliver something that has real world value to your users. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go back and get a view into Teams. And I'm going to show you here in Teams, we have a number of different sites, right, that have been set up. And what if I wanted to, for example, there's one, this Mark 8 project team, maybe they're doing this big migration up into the cloud of content, right? And they're going to start putting files in here. They're going to have their OKRs listed so that users can come in, wait for that to refresh. So we'll skip out, then come back. Come on. Refresh, refresh. And I must have done something with that. We'll see that in a bit. We also have project tracking that we're displaying and bubbling up. So all that's available. Now, I don't know why this is not working. We'll just skip over that piece. But we have all that available here. And I want to make that, though, this is a big team. There's all kinds of people. It's a private team, so folks aren't allowed just in there. They can't browse for content. I want the team, though, to, when they come in, not have to do clicks all over the place. Teams fires up, they get their entry point. I want front and center for just those folks, immediate entry into their team. So how do I do that? It's easy, using my favorite and simplest of all the tiles or cards, known as the web link. So we're going to select that, select edit for it. For this particular one, we'll keep it medium, and then I'm going to grab, I have the link directly to that team already for me in a notepad file. There we go. Notice I clicked, boom, it already is recognized. It's grabbed an image, so we'll say auto select, but I'm going to change the name. This is not the join conversation. It's the Mark 8 Cloud Service Project. And what is it? Well, it is a cloud migration project. You could have much lengthier. I could go in and do some additional pieces, but the one I'm concerned with, I only want that team to see this. So I'll start typing Mark 8. Notice it says 50 audience limit. So I could actually target up to 50 different groups with this, but I'm only going to select the one. And now it says 50 audience limit, 49 left. We're done with that. So that's all great. We'll go ahead and close that. Now I'd like to move this card so it's front and center for that particular team. Again, and I'm a member of the team, so I'll be able to see this when I put it on, but I'm going to republish. And just like that, I've now given them something of value. They know whenever they come in, they don't have to then go to teams and then search for the team and do all that. It's right front and center. They click, boom, they're in, right? They want to see their project tracking. It's all right here. There was the learning that's been compiled for them. It's all right here. Nothing else to do. The link one is super powerful. Let's take it one step further, though, with that link one. We'll add one more. And for this one, we are going to come in and I'm going to grab this particular link. What if I wanted to grab and, again, target a particular learning module in Viva Learning? You know, there's all kinds of great learning out here that people have access to, but what if I wanted to target some clinicians with evaluating the quality of healthcare delivery? This comes to us by our partner Coursera, who has courses around that. You can see here's public speaking coming from Interactive. We've got Coursera, all kinds of different content being offered up. But I want to grab this particular, not that one, this one right here, and provide a link directly for that. So I'm going to come back in. Again, select edit. And we're going to go ahead, add a card, pick our web link. Go ahead, I've got the URL. Oh, that's right. There we are. I could select, again, an auto image, a custom image if I wanted to upload one. So, I don't know, we'll pick custom, say change, and I'll just say, let's see, here's some recent ones. Anything in there I want? No. We'll do a stock image, and I'll do medical. Grab that. Here we go. Grab a nice image there. Drop that in so you can see that's here as well, right? Oh, I did that under the thumbnail. Let's grab the same image. This would be stock, medical. There we go. I put it in the wrong one. And there we are. There's our image, right? Then I want to say from there, this is for the title, evaluating the quality of healthcare delivery. I've got a little lengthier explanation here. I'm going to drop that in. And there it is. And then finally, audience select group. So I could, start free typing. Here I picked a C. So I've got CEO, Contoso Life members, marketing team members, Contoso members. I'll take Contoso Life, $300. So we'll go ahead, add that. Then we can place it wherever we would like. Boom. Republish. We're out there. Now you can see in this particular group, I added a group that I am not a member of, right? So this one I'm a member of. I see it. It's targeted. The new one, which would be here, I don't see because I'm not a member of that particular group. Audience profile targeting. So this can have a very different experience for different users based off of who they are, where they are, and the type of things that you want to present to them based on their role. So very powerful. And again, with something as simple as a hyperlink, you can start providing immediate value that's targeted for those users. All right. Lastly, moving on, there's one other view that I would like to provide, and I'm going to do it in here. So what I've done, and again, this is a medical one. You can see here, this is a EMR Connect. I'm logged in here to this joint one as Dr. G, and I have this EMR Connect front and center. So I'm able to come in here and, you know, see that data and interact with it. There's conversations pertinent to me that are popping up that I might want to come in and take a look at. But what I'd like to do, we have been building an immersive 360-degree virtual tour of our facilities for physicians so that as they go from hospital to hospital, they can go and tour it and get a view of all of everything there, the physical pieces, have integrated training and all that. And best of all, we did it at very low cost by purchasing a 360-degree camera like an Insta 360 or a Ricoh camera, and going and taking pictures of various areas, and then using the capability that is built into Microsoft. I'm trying to think of where I have that. Well, I'll just show you where you can come in and do that. So here in Microsoft, there's a capability called Space. You're going to see what those look like in just a moment. But to add that now, the tour that's been created, it's as simple as just like we did previously. I'll select Edit. That already has a landing spot, so I'm going to select New. Again, our simplest of links. And we're going to edit. And in this one, oh, it's under Smarter Health Learning. So I'll paste that link in here. To paste anything else, because that particular web page in SharePoint already has this view. Look, it's given it a nice graphic. And maybe I want to make that a large, so it's a little wider. And finally, let's place that right over here. Click Republish. And now I've got an incredibly rich view for people where they can come in. They can access this immersive 360-degree virtual environment that they can explore, they can navigate through, watch introductory videos, do things of that type. They can navigate through the environment, going from zone to zone where we've taken pictures, and again, 360 degrees, and have all kinds of goodies that they insert for integrated training. So here's text, right? There's also things like here's a virtual hollow heart that we can zoom in, zoom out, and all of it is even headset enabled. We own this. All of you own this if you have Microsoft 365, and it's simple to do. You just take a series of images and upload them. But that's another video we have on our site that you can watch how to do it. But it was simple. All we did was, again, use the web link to quickly add value to this. Then we can come on back, and here we are. So what have we done? Well, we took an overview of what these homes look like. We looked at the ways you can edit the banner, the way you can edit the navigational links, which can be audience profile targeted, and the way we can edit the dashboard. And we targeted two different parts, one that now shows because I'm a member of this particular group, and one that does not show because I'm not a member of the group that we're targeting here. We saw the feed and how that displays data dynamically for us. Nothing else to do, but it's individualized based off of AI. And finally, how it bubbles up these areas available to us in our learning experience platform automatically. Let's come on back here. We're just about done. All right, so how do you take the next step in your employee experience journey? Well, number one, browse the Microsoft Viva website and blog. Take a look. These links are there. They're posted for you on the blog. Number two, get resources that you might need. Here's adoption resources. There is this for this week on Thursday, the 20th, a link to the Microsoft Viva Summit. There are huge announcements that make this all even more compelling that are going to be shown. I've already seen them, but I can't tell you about them here. You'll have to wait till Thursday, but definitely get over there and see what is happening in the world of Microsoft Viva. And that's it from me. There are a whole bunch of upcoming sessions. You can see the schedule here. Today is the 18th. So they're having a session on call queue for Microsoft Teams. We've got enhance your deployment with Teams premium features. I will be back on Wednesday the 19th talking about from 2 to 3 about the seated portions that you get with Microsoft Viva versus the premium or paid portions. So we'll go through all that so you'll understand what you own today, what you would need to license, how that's done, and then we'll actually take a look at the differences. And then there are additional ones coming up. So please take a look. Let the folks know, how this is going. Attend the sessions, and we'd love to hear from you. But with that, this is Mike Giannotti here. Got my little Dr. G lab coat in the back. I want to thank everybody for sitting through this. I know we had some technical difficulties with the recording, so I went ahead today. I've redone it. This is now available for you. Feel free to share this with your friends, family, your colleagues, your kids. I'm sure they just love it. But with that, bidding a happy, great day. I don't even know what I'm saying. I've been talking so long. Have a cup of coffee. Have a great day. Be sure to check out the other great sessions here on the Team Summit, like you see up here. Take care and ciao.